This is my brutally honest advice to my younger, poorer self who was trying to learn how to code to make some quick money. The first thing I want to talk about, and this thing is not on my list, it's actually don't listen to the nerds. So if you are a complete noob and if you are coming from a career that is not related to tech in any way, shape or form, maybe you are an accountant, right? Well, the worst that you can do is to take advice from someone who has been coding for the past, 20 years, okay? And the guy is, 22. Don't take advice from someone that has been coding since they were 2 years old, because they cannot relate to you in any way, shape or form. They will give you the worst advice, actually. Imagine me taking advice from Warren Buffett on how to run my business. Yeah, okay, some principles might be good, but the fact is that the guy cannot relate to me anymore. These nerds that are giving advice on the internet, and you probably know who I'm talking about, they cannot relate to you and they will give you the advice they would give to the younger self, okay? So they are not ill-intended when they give out advice, but the advice that they will give you is gonna be wrong for your situation. In fact, what you should be looking for is for people that come from a similar background to you and seek their advice, okay? And then later, when you are in your career, when you are making some money, yes, then listen to the nerds, especially if you want to progress as a software engineer. Surround yourself with nerds, let them teach you different things, because nerds want to share their knowledge with you. They actually love that, okay? But don't do it in the beginning, otherwise you will be suffering, okay? Because they are way smarter than you, and that's okay. Second brutal advice: make a distinction between tactics and principles. Probably you heard a lot of this online. Be consistent, build a project, don't give up, be disciplined, always keep learning, whatever it's out there. Those are principles, and those will be true forever. They were true 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. What's always changing are the tactics, so how you implement the principles. So, for example, a tactic that used to work really well back when I started learning how to code was to make a basic React application with a router, with a Redux store, and call a couple of APIs, and that's it. You are a genius. Now, if you're applying the same tactic today or next year or in 5 years from now, you'll be unemployed, because the game has changed. What is required right now is different than what was required when I got hired. So make sure that whenever you are sourcing information from content online, from YouTube, from TikTok, from Instagram, make sure that you can make a distinction between what is a principle and what is a tactic. A tactic that I'm using right now is to build a product. So I'm not focusing 100% on learning the latest technologies and whatnot, but I'm focusing more on what comes out of those technologies. And based on my interpretation and thinking process and patterns and whatnot, I thought, and I'm thinking, that if I focus on an outcome, is way better than focusing on whatever technologies I'm gonna add into that product. So I think that's gonna be easier for you, because in this way you can learn the least amount of tech possible and get to work as fast as possible and build something that is worthwhile, which is gonna impress recruiters and hiring managers, okay? Now let's get into the advice that I actually wrote on my phone, because these are two things that I was thinking about this morning as I was preparing myself mentally for this video, right? The first thing is to hit rock bottom. Actually, this is the third advice. I hit rock bottom when one day I looked up in my saving box. I used to have this metal savings box that I used to lock in with a little key. I used to have 400 pounds, and I was working 16 hours a day, and I was sharing my bed with another girl. And I wasn't in a relationship with that girl, but because I was so broke, I had to share my bed so I can pay a lower rent. I used to be a middle-class guy, I used to have my own room in my own house, and now I'm here working like a slave, 16 hours a day. My hands were burned because of the espresso machine, because I was touching hot stuff every single day. My back hurt. I still have problems with my legs, because I was sitting, no, not sitting, but standing so much, so many hours. And one day I said, what the hell am I doing with my life? I came here thinking that if I work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, I'm gonna make some money, come back home and buy a car, a sports car. And after 1 year, I only have 400 pounds in my bank account. It wasn't even a bank account, because I didn't have a bank account. That's another story for another time. I had 400 pounds cash. I couldn't even afford the ticket going back home. My advice for you, if you are currently looking to make a career change, is that you need to hit that rock bottom. And you know that you hit that rock bottom when you start doing something about it. Because many people hit their rock bottom years ago. I know people that whenever I meet with them, whenever I go back to my home country, they tell me how horrible their life is. They tell me how much they hate their jobs. They tell me that they hate the fact that they cannot take a holiday. They tell me that they are struggling to feed their kids. It's for real, right? I'm 30 and some of my friends have kids and whatnot, and they tell me these things. And I'm like, why are you not doing anything about it? Because the true rock bottom, again, is when you start doing something about it. And if you feel like you are complacent, if you feel like you are procrastinating a lot on making moves because you see news, you are scared and blah, 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 you will stay where you are. Are you happy to stay where you are for another 5, 10, 15 years just to watch on the sidelines to make sure that everything is gonna be right for you to take action? Because if you are, then you'll never find the right time, the right opportunity to jump in. You have to make it happen, right? So if you hit the rock bottom, it's time to do something about it. Otherwise, you'll stay there because nobody's gonna come to save you. The next point, the fourth harsh truth that I wanna share with you is that you have to be exceptional. So I was talking with one of my students the other day, Ed. He had an interview recently and he failed it. And he wasn't really upset about it. He was actually happy about it. He said to me, in this market, you have to be exceptional. Because right now, what you see around you is a huge split between people who are trying to become exceptional and people who are trying to make the most out of whatever is given to them. And then you see another mass which is way bigger, with people that are crying, complaining, and they are, let's be honest, average, beyond average, mediocre. And those people will be wiped out. And it is what it is. You cannot do anything about it. Don't feel bad for them, it's their choice. But you can also make a choice right now, today, to be exceptional. Whenever you build something, whenever you learn something, try to squeeze the most amount of juice out of every single thing that you are doing. Try to polish it and make it as perfect as possible. Because if you do that, trust me, your efforts will be seen. Don't think about the fact that, oh, what if I work all this time and I put all this effort in and everything is gonna go and be wasted. No, it's not true. Never in my life I have tried doing something that didn't pay off in the end. Maybe it's not gonna pay off in the way you want it to pay off. That's another discussion for another time. But if you try to be exceptional, trust me, you'll build some amazing character traits that are desired by other people. Because right now, everyone can be complacent. It's so easy. Like, the modern world makes being complacent so freaking easy. It's unbelievable. I'm here in Bali, let me tell you a little story, and I never used to use takeaway apps. Never. But here in Bali, everything is takeaway. I can, instead of walking to the shop and buy Coke Zero and the Red Bull and some water, I can order it from my phone. For me, it's absolutely insane. And every single day I'm ordering stuff from takeaway. It's absolutely crazy. Protein shakes, Coke Zero, Red Bull, water, coffee, whatever, everything comes to me. The modern world is so soft, okay? But as Dana White was saying, if you're a weekend warrior, you can absolutely annihilate everyone. So it's literally up to you if you want to be exceptional or not. You will suffer. Okay. A big one. As a beginner in any industry, but especially in coding, you will suffer a lot. And it's not only about the suffering of an application not working out or getting rejected a couple of times and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about. That's kind of expected. But those mental battles, okay? Those mental battles that you have with yourself every single day. Whenever you have that thought of, let me quit. Why am I wasting my time with this? Look at all this news. But I'm an accountant and I'm 37.5 years old and I have 2 kids and I only have 2 hours free per day. Is it worth spending all this time doing this? I'm tired when I get home. That pain is the price that you're paying for this career change. It's not the money that you're spending on my mentorship program or a coding bootcamp or the courses that you're buying. That's not what you are paying with. You're paying with mental pain. Okay, this is the price you have to pay. I'm paying this price every single day as well, building my business, because trying to make something with your mind and not with your body, it's like trying to make the devil and the angel, cooperate. One wants to be comfortable and keep you where you are right now because your brain wants to not waste energy. Okay, so if you are doing whatever you are doing every single day, you are not wasting energy. But if you are going against the grain, doing something that is outside your comfort zone, like a coding career, your brain is gonna try to pull you back. So make sure that you understand that you are supposed to feel the pain. You are supposed to feel like you suck. You are supposed to feel like this is not gonna work out. You are supposed to feel like the world is not fair to you. You are supposed to feel like there is no end to this. You are supposed to feel like that. And this is what you signed up for. And if you're not okay with that, then maybe this is not for you. But any other thing that you wanna try, let's say you quit coding, is gonna require the same character traits and the same amount of pain, no matter what you're doing. The work is never done. So think about it for a second. What does this mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means. I have the opportunity to see maybe thousands of people every single year. I spy them on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I spy students, people that come into my program that are a bit more advanced. And they usually have this portfolio that everyone talks about in the coding industry, okay? They built 5 applications and whatnot. They put everything in a portfolio website and they start applying. Now, what's wrong with that? Because this seems like this is the status quo. Now, if you wanna be a total G about it, you need to understand this. The work is never done. Start building something and never ever finish building it. This is an infinite game, nothing ends, okay? You have to treat every project that you're building like a stepping stone towards a bigger final project, which is never gonna be done. That project is gonna be done when you will get hired. And this is gonna bring you a bunch of benefits. The first benefit is that you'll start to get better and better every single day. Like imagine this, building something for a very long period of time. You'll become an absolute monster. You'll get so much exposure to every single thing. You'll get so much experience that when you will present yourself in an interview, people will not believe that you are a beginner, because beginners don't do that. You don't deserve shit. I was feeling entitled, because I was sending all these applications out and I was getting called by recruiters, but none of them wanted to give me this job. I even told one of them that I know Redux so well that I could as well be Dan Abramov, the guy who actually made Redux. I was so entitled to this job, to this career, not knowing where my place is. In fact, I should have been grateful that I was even called by this recruiter. You are so weak compared with what is the actual standard that if someone is giving you a shot, you should be absolutely grateful for it and you should try your best to prove that you are a valuable asset, because someone is gonna take a gamble on you. This is what you need to hear. Let's say the next brutal honest that I wanna share with you is that you severely underestimate the work that you'll have to do. I can guarantee to you that you are unprepared for the sheer amount of work that you'll have to do. You will think that maybe 5 applications per day, 5 submitted applications per day is enough. Or you'll think that making a couple of posts on LinkedIn is enough. Or you'll think that writing 10 lines of code per day will be enough. Or you'll think that, oh, I have this application that I have to build. Let me not take off the errors. Let me not take care of the loading states. Let me not take care of this, of that, of this, of that. Let me not add this detail here. Like, you are underestimating the amount of work that you have to do. And that's okay. You're not in the industry. It's not your fault, but it's your problem. This sounds like super crazy advice, but I want you to have the biggest insecurities as possible when it comes to coding. People that are very successful in business and in sports and whatnot, they have a few traits in common. First, they're extremely insecure. And then they also have a big ego. They think the world revolves around them. So if you have this trait of thinking that you are the shit, which you already have, But if you double down on you being extremely insecure about your code and not being so cocky, then you'll work so much that you'll beat your entire competition, because your competition is not doing this, okay? So don't think that your competition is working harder than you. Don't think about that, because it's not true. It's like statistically impossible. Like 99% of people are not working as hard as you, and you might be the 99% as well. Then do the same as everyone else, get the same as everyone else. This is a big one, right? If you do free lame camp, lame academy, the lame project, and you expect something else than the people who are doing that, or if you are having the same projects as everyone else in your bootcamp, you guys are carbon copy of each other. You need to start thinking outside the box. That's why I don't give you an exact project to build, because if I give you an exact project to build, then that project is going to be smoked and it's not going to work anymore. I give you principles, like for example going on product hunt, trying to find a product there and try to reverse engineer it. Trust me, nobody does that, including yourself. So if you start doing things that are different than other people, then probably you'll be getting different results than them. But if you are doing the same thing as everyone else, do not complain and expect a different result, okay? Because you are just wasting your time and your energy. You should use that energy to be different. Get to work as soon as you can. Massive, and I'm happy that I did this without being told to do it. So I used to come home from work, and right the moment I opened the door, I used to take off my clothes and open up my laptop, and I went right to work. Because if I start relaxing, watching Netflix, playing FIFA, smoking weed, all this stuff, and then I have to code, well, I will not want to code. But if I get to do the work as fast as possible, everything else after that feels like a reward. So I was creating a positive feedback loop. You do the hard work, then you get the reward. Do the hard work, reward. And this got me addicted to coding, and I was able to code every single day for 9 months straight without any breaks whatsoever. And I was actually getting pissed if someone was taking me away from coding, which was pretty sick, because that helped me out really to make this transition as fast as possible, you know. If someone else can do it, doesn't mean you can too. Ooh, this will kind of hurt me a little bit from the business point of view. You'll go on my website, the first link in the description, and you'll see all these testimonials. And you'll watch those testimonials and you'll think that you can actually be one of them. You'll probably not be one of them. When you look at that testimonial, what do you see? 30 minutes, right? You see how a student of mine did all these things the right way. They listened to me. They applied the information. They went out of their way. They tried to be exceptional. They did all these things right. But what you don't see is the struggles. What you don't see is how many times they wanted to quit. What you don't see is how they hated me for making them redo their application 3-4 times because they didn't learn how to use Git properly, because they didn't pay attention. You don't see all those things. You really do not see them. You only see a highlight, a 30-minute highlight. When you look at successful people, you need to understand that they went through literally the same thing that you are going through. But for some reason, they stayed in the saddle. They stayed on the horse when things seemed like they will go nowhere. And whenever you feel like shit, whenever you feel like quitting, whenever you feel like this will never work out, I want you to go on my website and watch the testimonials from my students and know that they felt exactly the same as you, but they didn't give up and they didn't listen to that thought. Practice first, theory second, then switch. A bunch of beginners, including myself, tried learning everything, just in case I might need it. I used to have a huge wish list of courses on Udemy. Maybe you have one as well. But in fact, you only need a very small piece of theory to become proficient with something, so you can start building out something. In fact, in my course that you can get by clicking on the second link in the description, you can actually see how I put that into practice. I give you very little theory, and then there is a lot of practice. And then once you're comfortable building stuff without even thinking about it, then you go and learn theory, because theory is gonna stick like flies stick to honey if you have a lot of practice under your belt. Without practice, the theory will not be able to attach itself to anything. So theory is gonna be very theoretical. Never put all your eggs in one basket. This is also particularly important for when you'll start applying to jobs. There will be this interview or this chat with this recruiter, and you'll feel like it goes somewhere. Like, you'll really be excited, you'll start telling your friends about it. I used to tell my mom about it, my dad. I told them like, hey, that's it. My work finally pays off. And then I never hear from the recruiter ever again. Whenever you have a chat with the recruiter or an interview that goes well, you have to keep interviewing. Don't stop other interviews just because one of them went well. Because these people are in fact trained to make you feel good about yourself and good about them. You'll have a job. Don't feel afraid to leave your job just because someone gave you an opportunity once. So stay in your job for 1 year, but then if you can double or triple your salary because you've been learning, because you've been taking mentorships, because you've been buying more courses, because you upskilled yourself, don't feel afraid of leaving. Next, do whatever it takes. Sometimes might mean working for free for a month while you also keep your full-time job. Sometimes might mean giving up going out with your boys on a Friday night and getting wasted. It might mean stopping playing video games. It might mean all of the above. It might mean having a conversation with your wife or husband or your partner and telling them like, hey, you know, we need to spend a bit less time together because I'm trying to do this and I want your support. This is doing whatever it takes. I really want you to watch this video or this movie with Will Smith. I think it's called Pursuit of Happiness. I want you to see how he tried to become that salesman. And not only he became a salesman, he actually became, I think, CEO of that company, or it was part of the board of advisors by the end. I don't remember exactly because I saw it a long time ago. But that is the definition of someone that does whatever it takes. Then, if you copy code from others, you're only cheating yourself. You need to experience the pain of growth. So this is especially important with people that are learning how to code from ChatGPT. I'm looking at you, okay? When your problems can be solved by one prompt as a beginner, you will absolutely fail. I had so many people that were using ChatGPT to learn how to code before they joined my mentorship program, and they were building almost the last project. And I was like, whoa, wow, this is pretty insane. But then when I started testing them to see what they can do without ChatGPT, they were absolute noobs, beginners, believe it or not. And they had to relearn everything. Your job as a beginner is to struggle, to feel that pain of growth. This is not gonna come easy, okay? But once you get to a position where you can understand how the system works and whatnot, once you get hired, in my opinion, then use ChatGPT, use whatever Devin, Copilot, use whatever you want to use. But till you get to that position, you need to know how to write a for loop. Believe it or not, many people cannot write a for loop. I'm challenging you right now to write a for loop in the comments. And the last point, the last advice is minimum work for minimum wage. Do the bare minimum and expect the maximum amount of money. This is the world that we are living in. It's not gonna work in that way. You have to do more work. And again, we go back to you are underestimating the amount of work you have to do. But sometimes some people build the shittiest projects and they think they are somehow entitled to anything. Sometimes I look at these projects and I cringe so hard and I'm like, how can you guys not see how bad these things are? How bad your projects are? How you don't even deploy your projects, you don't create some intelligible applications. The design looks totally awful, like it looks like some child messed around with some code and then outputted something and that's it. You will not get far with the minimum work for minimum wage, and I'm pretty much done explaining these concepts. If you work with me in my mentorship program, I can give you guidance. I can show you, okay, build this, do this, do this. but you still have to do the work. It's 99% on you. I am 1%. I'm gonna just change your trajectory a bit. I'm gonna tell you, stop wasting time on that, or you are weak here, let's do this exercise here so you can understand this, or I can explain something to you. I can do those kind of things. I can give you the latest tactics, the right projects to build so you can understand this stuff, and I can be cruel with you or to you and tell you where you suck and why you suck and how to improve. But it's still up to you. But you can also be cleaning out pools for people and you can make minimum wage. So it's up to you what you want to do, but I would rather suffer for a year or so and get paid the big bucks. Again, if you want to be part of my mentorship program, click on the first link in the description. And if you want to learn from me for free, click on the second link in the description. That's where you'll see my community, and you'll see a couple of courses that I put out there for free, and then we'll have a competition which is going to start soon where you will be able to win an M2 MacBook Air, and that's going to be pretty sick. So let me know what you think about this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.